The Zarn Dominion had always believed that the galaxy belonged to them. For thousands of years they had ruled the star systems near the Orion Arm with iron claws, building massive fleets of warships and striking fear into anyone who opposed them. Their scientists had explored almost every corner of known space. They had charts of billions of stars, lists of thousands of alien civilizations, and histories of wars that lasted centuries. Nothing, they thought, could surprise them anymore. But the Zarn were wrong. Commander Tyrell sat in the bridge of the Vortex Lance, his gray scales glinting under the dim red lights. His 4 eyes scanned the main screen. The sensors had picked up a strange signal drifting through a dense nebula. It was weak, almost undetectable, and at first glance it seemed like nothing at all. But something about it did not feel right. The energy readings were unlike anything in their database. "Commander," Lieutenant Kara said, her voice steady but tense. She was the ship's science officer, and one of the most talented minds in the Dominion fleet. "The object is huge. Our scans cannot penetrate the hull properly. It seems to be resisting. Whatever it is, it's shielding itself from us." Tyrell leaned closer. "Resisting? Are you saying it is alive?" Kara shook her head. "Not alive exactly. But it has some kind of system we cannot understand. It reacts when we scan it." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. None of them had ever seen an object like this. It was enormous, larger than any cruiser, larger than most battle stations. Its shape was strange, almost angular, but also sleek, as if it had been designed for speed as well as strength. It was dark, almost black, and the light of the nearby stars reflected strangely off its surface. "Bring us closer," Tyrell ordered. "I want visual confirmation. Prepare all scanning systems. I want everything we can possibly know about this ship." "Yes, Commander," Kara replied. She tapped at her console, her claws moving swiftly over the smooth controls. The Zarn cruiser moved slowly through the nebula. Clouds of glowing gas and particles surrounded them, making the sensors work harder. The object became clearer with each passing minute, but the more Kara scanned, the more confused she became. "It's huge," she whispered. "It has multiple layers of shielding. The core energy signature is odd. I've never seen anything like this. It is sending out pulses, but they are irregular, almost like a heartbeat." "A heartbeat?" Tyrell asked, raising one eyebrow. "Yes," Kara said. "Not a living heartbeat, but a rhythm. Something inside is monitoring us. It knows we are here." Tyrell frowned. He had faced thousands of enemies, from space pirates to entire rival fleets, but something about this made him uneasy. There was a weight in the air that could not be explained. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Red lights flashed. "Commander, the object is emitting a sudden energy pulse," Kara shouted. Tyrell's claws tightened on the armrest. "Shields up! Divert all power to defensive grids." The ship trembled as a blinding wave of energy struck the Vortex Lance. Systems flickered and went dark for a moment. The crew gasped as consoles rebooted, some showing error messages that had never appeared in their history. "What the—" Tyrell began. "Status report." Lieutenant Kara's voice was calm but tight. "Main shields are at 30%. Engines are operational but weakened. The pulse seems to be defensive in nature. The object, whatever it is, does not want to be scanned. It is reacting to our presence." The bridge went silent. Even the usual chatter of crew members stopped. The Zarn Dominion had faced strong enemies before, but nothing like this. There was no name in the records, no story, no history of a ship that could do this. Tyrell stood up. "Prepare an emergency retreat. Full reverse thrusters. We are leaving this nebula immediately." "Yes, Commander," Kara replied. She paused, frowning at the display. "Commander, I think we were lucky to survive that pulse. The energy it released was enough to destroy a small cruiser completely." Tyrell nodded slowly, his face serious. "It is alive in some way. It is aware of us, and it is dangerous. Report this to High Command immediately. No one must underestimate it." The Vortex Lance moved slowly away from the object. The crew tried to remain calm, but the unease was clear on everyone's face. They had scanned thousands of starships, and this was nothing like any of them. Its size alone was astonishing, but its systems, its defenses, and its very presence suggested a power the galaxy had not seen in millennia. Meanwhile, far across the nebula, deep inside the dark hull of the enormous ship, systems that had been dormant for thousands of years began to stir. Lights flickered on consoles long covered in dust. Mechanical systems hummed as if waking from a long sleep. A voice, calm and precise, echoed through the AI core. "Awaken. Scan detected. Prepare for engagement. Inside the ship, cryopods opened slowly, releasing humans who had not seen the light of day for 5,000 years. Captain Laura Grant blinked as her eyes adjusted. She had no memory of what had happened, only fragments of a war that had ended in chaos and desperation. She rose slowly, looking around at the crew who were waking one by one. "We've been asleep a long time," said a young lieutenant, rubbing his eyes. Where are we?" Laura looked at the main viewport and froze. On the screens, distant red lights flickered. Alien ships. Many of them. They were small, fragile, and clearly nervous. The humans had no way of knowing the Zarn had already scanned them. But the moment they had activated systems, they had been observed, and fear had spread instantly through the alien fleet. Back on the Zarn cruiser, the crew stared at their instruments in disbelief.
"Commander," Kara whispered, "the ship—"
"It's alive. I don't think it's just a ship. I think it's a weapon. A weapon beyond our understanding." Trell sat back, swallowing hard. "Weapon? Against us?" "Yes," Kara said. "And if it wants, it could destroy this entire sector." For the first time in their history, the Zarn Dominion felt small. They were skilled, they were cruel, they were clever. But they had never encountered anything like this. Not even in the old records, which spoke of ancient humans who had vanished long ago. The humans of legend had once been feared across the stars. Most of the galaxy thought they were extinct. But now evidence suggested they had not only survived, they had waited. The Vortex Lance retreated as fast as possible, but every officer knew it had been lucky. Whatever lay in the nebula was not just a ship. It was history. It was power. It was humanity, returning after thousands of years. High Command would be furious. They had strict orders to survey unknown regions and claim them for the Dominion, but nobody would argue against the retreat. The ancient human warship had changed everything. Its mere presence sent a message. Humans were not gone. They were not weak, and the galaxy should fear them. Even as the Vortex Lance jumped into warp, the pulse of energy from the human ship could still be felt across the nebula. It was a warning. It was a reminder. And somewhere, far in the dark corridors of the massive vessel, Captain Laura Grant smiled. "They are awake," she whispered, "and they are about to learn the truth about humanity." The Zarn had no idea what was coming. They only knew that the unknown had stared back at them, and it had been stronger, older, and deadlier than they could imagine. Across the galaxy, in the quiet of empty space, systems that had not been touched for thousands of years came alive. Machines hummed. Power grids charged. Weapon systems glowed. The humans were not gone. The humans were returning. And whatever story had been told about their extinction had been a lie. It was only the beginning. Captain Laura Grant walked slowly through the main corridor of the massive human warship. The floor hummed softly beneath her boots. The lights flickered as systems that had been dormant for thousands of years came online. She looked around at the crew, all of whom were waking from cryosleep. Their faces were pale, their bodies stiff from centuries of inactivity, but their eyes were alive with curiosity and caution. "Status report," Laura said, stopping near the bridge. Lieutenant Eric Mason, a young officer who had barely grown up before being put into cryosleep, stepped forward. "All systems are online, Captain. Life support is stable. Sensors are fully functional. Weapon systems are charging, but we are still at reduced capacity until the main power core is fully online." Laura nodded. She had expected some difficulties, but the speed at which the ship had reactivated was impressive. The AI, Orion, had done its job perfectly. "Orion," she said, speaking to the ship's core, "give me a full report of nearby activity." A calm, steady voice replied, "Captain Grant, multiple ships detected on long-range sensors. Unknown vessels approaching from the northeast sector. Based on energy signatures and design, I assess they belong to a species not present in current Terran databases." Laura frowned. "Unknown, you say? Any signs of hostility?" "Unknown, Captain." Energy outputs suggest caution, but sensors indicate high alert in the approaching fleet. They may not be aware of our presence, or they may be preparing for engagement. Laura looked at her crew. "We have been asleep a long time, but the galaxy has not forgotten us. Let's make sure we are ready for whatever comes." The crew began to move with purpose. Engineers ran to the power cores, checking conduits and stabilizers. Technicians monitored sensor arrays. confirming that the ship's massive hull was intact and capable of withstanding enormous forces. Weapons officers tested targeting systems, activating turrets and energy cannons for the first time in thousands of years. Every system responded instantly, as if eager to prove its power. On the bridge, Eric Mason pointed at the main display. "Captain, they are moving closer. The vessels are scanning us now." Laura's eyes narrowed. "Let them scan. Let them see who we are, but do not fire unless I give the order." As the unknown fleet came into sensor range, their small ships looked fragile compared to the human warship. They were elegant, with sharp angles and strange engines that glowed blue. They seemed confident, but that confidence was about to break. Back on one of the alien vessels, Commander Terrell stared at his screens in disbelief. "They are awake?" he said. "How is this possible?" "The ship has been dormant for thousands of years. Our scans should have detected nothing." Lieutenant Kara, standing beside him, looked equally shocked. "They are alive, Commander. Not in the way we think, but the ship's systems are fully functional and active. It is responding to our presence." Terrell leaned back in his chair. "Alert the High Command. Tell them that the ancient human vessel is awake. Prepare the fleet for immediate withdrawal if necessary. This is not a threat we can underestimate." But some of the Zarn fleet were already curious, or perhaps reckless. A few ships moved closer, scanning more aggressively, trying to measure the human warship's capabilities. As they did, the Dauntless pulsed with energy, its sensors detecting every signal, every scan. Laura Grant stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the console. She did not panic. Fear was not something that humans carried easily, especially not those trained to survive in the far reaches of space. "Orion," she said, "let them learn their lesson gently. Activate defensive pulse at minimal output. I want to test their reactions without causing unnecessary destruction." "Yes, Captain," Orion replied. The ship's systems hummed. A soft pulse of energy radiated from the hull, just enough to interfere with the approaching vessel's sensors. Their readings went haywire. Screens flickered and alarms blared across the alien fleet. "What is happening?" Terrell shouted, his claws gripping the armrest. "Our instruments." "They are failing." Kara's eyes widened. "It is the ship, Commander. It is reacting. I think it knows we are here. It is controlling the sensor field. This is not just technology. This is intelligence." The Zarn ships hesitated. For the first time in their history, they were unsure of what to do. Their military might was vast, their fleets numerous, but they had never encountered an enemy that could manipulate their systems from so far away. Laura watched the displays and felt satisfaction. The humans had built this warship for one reason: to survive and protect their people. It had waited for centuries, but now it had a purpose once again. "Orion," she said, "scan the alien fleet for weapons and defense systems. I want a full analysis of their capabilities." The AI's calm voice replied, "Captain, their ships are lightly armed compared to our main cannons. Their shields are standard for this era, and their energy outputs are minimal. In direct engagement, they would be destroyed in seconds." Laura nodded. "Good. But we do not attack unless necessary. Let them learn respect first." Across the nebula, the Zarn Dominion tried to understand what had just happened. They were skilled in war, in politics, and manipulation of weaker species. But they had never faced a human warship, and they had certainly never seen one that had been dormant for thousands of years. Panic began to spread. Orders were shouted, but no one had a clear plan. On the Dauntless, the humans continued to awaken fully. Medical crews checked on everyone who had just emerged from cryo-sleep. Some were disoriented, some confused, but all were quickly trained to respond. The ship's systems provided guidance. It was as if the vessel itself remembered every procedure, every protocol, every mission that had been assigned long before. Laura walked to the tactical station and looked at the alien fleet again. "We are not the first humans to face danger," she said quietly. "But we will be the last to be underestimated." The Zarn ships, sensing that something was controlling their instruments, pulled back slightly. Commander Terrell realized that the humans were not just awake, they were aware. They were intelligent, precise, and dangerous. And worst of all, the humans seemed calm, confident, and fully in control of the situation. "Commander," Kara said, her voice tense, "we cannot approach further. Their power is overwhelming. I have never seen energy output like this. One shot from that ship could destroy half our fleet." Terrell rubbed his scales nervously. "Send word to High Command immediately. All fleets must hold position. No one engages until we know more. Meanwhile, Laura and her crew continued to explore the ship. The Dauntless was enormous, filled with systems and weapons that had been built to fight wars that were long forgotten. Deep inside, energy cores hummed with power far beyond current standards. The ship's AI, Orion, guided the crew through every step of the reactivation process, ensuring that nothing went wrong. Laura paused at the main viewport and looked out at the nebula. The Zarn ships were small, insignificant compared to the Dauntless. She could sense their fear even through the silent expanse of space. She turned to her crew. "Listen carefully," she said. "They do not understand who we are. They think humans are extinct. They think our kind is weak. Let them discover the truth slowly. Patience will serve us better than aggression." The crew nodded. They trusted her, as they always had. Even after centuries of sleep, the bond between humans and their vessels was unbroken. The ship responded to their presence as naturally as it had to those who had built it. It was alive in a way, and it trusted them. In the Zarn Dominion, reports of the human ship spread quickly. Across multiple fleets, officers whispered in disbelief. "It is awake," they said. "It is alive. And it is not attacking." Yet panic reached high command. Counselors argued about what to do. Some wanted to destroy the ship immediately. Others suggested retreat. Every analysis, however, concluded the same thing. The humans were a threat unlike any other in the galaxy. Back on the Dauntless, Laura gave her final orders for the moment. "Maintain position. Monitor all communications. Prepare defenses, but do not fire unless fired upon. We are the humans. We survive, we endure, and we will not be underestimated. Remember that." The crew worked in silence, each person focused on their duties. Outside the ship, the Zarn fleet hesitated. The human vessel radiated power and intelligence, a combination that no one in the galaxy had seen before. And as the Dauntless floated silently in the nebula, its systems humming with ancient energy, one thing became clear. The humans had returned. The galaxy would never forget this moment. For thousands of years, humanity had been gone. For thousands of years, they had been a story, a legend, a warning. And now, as Captain Laura Grant watched the stars outside the viewport, the news of the human warship spread faster than anyone in the galaxy could have imagined. Across star systems, the alarms in military headquarters blared. The Zarn Dominion, the Valari Confederation, and even smaller races that had only heard of humans in old histories were now in shock. "Commander Terrell, this is High Command," a voice crackled over the comm. "Report what is happening at the nebula." Terrell's claws tapped nervously on the console. "High Command, the human vessel is awake." "It is active. Its systems are beyond our understanding. Our sensors cannot fully penetrate the hull. It is responding to our fleet's presence." There was a pause. "Commander, clarify. Are you saying it is alive?" "Yes," Terrell said. "And it is aware of us. Its energy output alone is massive. Our estimates indicate it could destroy multiple star systems if engaged." High Command fell silent. The room on the other side of the comm line was filled with hundreds of beings, each staring at the transmission in disbelief. No one had ever reported a human vessel like this. Most had thought the species extinct. The last known war, thousands of years ago, had destroyed nearly all Terran colonies, and humans had disappeared from history books. But now the legends were real. "Is it moving?" another officer asked. Terrell shook his head. "Not yet. It remains stationary, but our scans suggest it can move at extreme speeds. Its weapon arrays are online. The pulse it sent earlier was enough to disrupt our entire fleet." Across the galaxy, the situation became more tense by the hour. The Valari, who prided themselves on intelligence and strategy, convened an emergency council. Admiral Vela, a sharp-minded Valari, addressed the assembly. "We face a threat that has not existed in our era. The human vessel is massive. Its systems are unknown. Our long-range scans have failed. We must assume the worst and act cautiously." Many in the council argued that immediate action was necessary. "We should strike now," said one officer. "If we allow it to move freely, we risk losing entire sectors." Admiral Vela shook her head. "No, we do not know what we face. One wrong move could provoke destruction on an unprecedented scale. The humans are awake and they are capable of defending themselves. We cannot underestimate them." Back in the nebula, the Zarn fleet had stopped their advance. Commander Terrell watched the main screen, his mind racing. The human vessel had not fired a weapon. It had not attacked. It had only activated defensive measures enough to make the aliens pause. The humans were calm, deliberate, and clearly intelligent. Lieutenant Kara, standing beside him, whispered, "It is testing us. It knows what we are thinking." Terrell's eyes widened. "It knows? How is that possible?" Kara shook her head. "I do not know. But the ship's systems are ancient. We know humans were once powerful. Legends say their technology could control entire fleets. Maybe some of that power still exists." The Zarn fleet decided to retreat slowly, hoping to observe the humans without provoking them. Every ship that moved closer found its systems malfunctioning. Communications scrambled. Weapon targeting failed. Sensors flickered. It was as if the human ship could manipulate the very space around it. On the Dauntless, Captain Laura Grant watched the alien fleet's reactions. She felt no fear. The humans had survived far worse than this. They had fought wars that spanned star systems, and they had endured centuries of hiding. She walked along the bridge, observing her crew. They were ready. They were alert. They were humans, and they had returned. "Orion," she said, speaking to the ship's AI, "analyze their fleet, identify weapons, energy output, and possible tactics." The AI's voice was calm. "Analysis complete. The alien vessels are lightly armed compared to our main systems. Shields are standard for their species. Their energy output is minimal relative to our capabilities. In direct engagement, the humans would have a significant advantage." Laura nodded. "Good, but we do not attack. Let them see us. Let them understand that humans are back and that we are not weak." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the panic spread. Reports came from other sectors where humans had once existed. Historians and scientists examined old records, trying to understand how a ship could have survived for 5,000 years. Rumors spread quickly. Some said humans were extinct, but their technology had remained hidden in remote nebulae. Others whispered that humanity had built weapons so powerful that even now, after thousands of years, they could still dominate entire fleets. The Valari and the Drakari, two of the most advanced races, sent scout ships to observe the situation from afar. Every ship detected the same thing. The human warship was massive, fully operational, and controlled by highly intelligent humans. Its sensors were precise, its weapons ready, and its systems beyond comprehension. Admiral Vela observed the displays. "These humans," she said, "are not like any species we have seen. Their warship alone could destroy an entire sector. If they move aggressively, we will have no chance to stop them." At the same time, back on the human ship, Laura convened a meeting with her officers. The war had ended long ago, but humanity had not vanished. The humans on the Dauntless were alive, and their mission was simple: survive, protect themselves, and reclaim their place in the galaxy. Lieutenant Eric Mason spoke first. "Captain, they are observing us. The alien fleets are cautious now. They do not understand us," Laura nodded. "They will learn soon enough. But we do not strike first. Our strength is our patience, our intelligence, and our will. Let them make the mistake of underestimating us. Then we will show them what humanity can do." The crew prepared for possible engagement anyway. Engineers checked power cores, ensuring that all systems could handle maximum output. Technicians monitored sensors for any sign of aggression. Weapons officers tested targeting systems repeatedly, making sure that every cannon, missile, and energy array was ready to fire at a moment's notice. In the Zarn Dominion, Commander Terrell struggled to maintain composure. The more he observed the human vessel, the more he realized how outmatched his fleet was. "Send a message to High Command," he said finally. "We cannot attack, not yet. We must understand what we are dealing with. This ship, it is beyond anything we have faced before." Kara looked at him nervously. "Commander, they could destroy us without firing a shot. One pulse of energy from that vessel could annihilate half the fleet." Terrell swallowed. "I know. That is why we hold. High Command must respond, but I fear they will panic when they see the true size of the threat." Across the galaxy, rumors spread. Traders, explorers, and military officers all reported the same thing. A massive human warship, long thought lost, had reappeared. Many believed it to be a ghost. Some called it a legend, but all agreed on one thing: humans were back, and they were a force to be feared. On the Dauntless, Captain Laura Grant felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Humans had once ruled parts of the galaxy with technology and courage unmatched. They had been feared, respected, and sometimes hated. Now, after thousands of years, they were back, and they would not allow themselves to be dismissed as a myth. "Orion," she said quietly, Prepare the ship for full operation. Activate defensive shields fully. Keep all weapons online. We may not need them, but we must be ready for anything. Yes, Captain, Orion replied. The hum of power increased as energy flowed through the ship. Shields glowed, and weapon systems gleamed under the light of the nebula. Outside, the alien fleet hesitated. Commander Tyrell could feel the fear in his crew, though they tried to hide it. Every ship knew the humans were awake, alert, and fully capable of destroying them. Even the most experienced officers found themselves unsure of what to do next. In the bridge of the Dauntless, Laura observed the aliens.
They think we are small, weak, and afraid, she said.
They will learn the truth soon enough. The Zarn fleet began to retreat slowly. Their leaders realized that engagement would be disastrous. Even if they tried, they would face overwhelming force. The human warship was not just alive, it was intelligent, precise, and dangerous. The galaxy had forgotten humans. It had written them out of history. But the humans had survived, hidden in the dark corners of space, waiting for the right moment to return, to show their strength and to remind everyone why they had once been feared. And as the Dauntless drifted silently in the nebula, Captain Laura Grant smiled. The humans were awake. The humans were alive. And the galaxy would never forget the power of a species that refused to die. The Zarn and other races had seen only the beginning. They had witnessed the awakening, the intelligence, and the calm control of the human warship. But the full measure of humanity's return had not yet been revealed. When the humans acted, the galaxy would understand why they had been feared for so long. For now, silence reigned in the nebula. Ships observed from a distance. Communications were cautious, and humans prepared. They had survived 5,000 years of obscurity, and they would not fail now. The galaxy had assumed humanity was extinct. It had assumed they were weak. It had assumed the stories were myths. Captain Laura Grant stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes fixed on the view screen. The nebula outside glowed softly, a swirl of red and orange clouds. The alien fleet was still hovering at a cautious distance. They had not attacked, but their ships were tense, engines humming and sensors probing constantly. Orion, Laura said, her voice steady. Run a full analysis of every ship in the fleet. I want weapons, shields, energy output, crew numbers, and any weak points. Yes, Captain, the AI replied. Its calm voice echoed through the bridge. Analysis complete. The alien fleet is lightly armed compared to our capabilities. Their shields are standard for this period, and their weapon systems cannot penetrate our hull without significant damage. Engagement would be advantageous for humans in direct combat. Laura nodded. Good, but we do not engage unless necessary. I want them to understand that humans are not to be tested lightly. Let them see our strength without a single shot fired. Lieutenant Eric Mason, standing near her, glanced at the display. Captain, they are still scanning us. Their ships seem nervous. Some are trying to approach closer, but they hesitate. Laura smiled faintly. Let them hesitate. That hesitation will save lives. Their fear is proof that we are no longer forgotten. On the bridge of the Zarn Dominion's lead ship, Commander Tyrell growled quietly. They are playing with us. The humans are not moving, but they are making us second-guess every decision. Every sensor, every system is under their control. This is not just power. This is intelligence beyond our understanding. Lieutenant Kara shook her head. Commander, I've never seen anything like this. Their technology is ancient, but it is far superior to ours. Even our best experts cannot explain it. And they are awake, aware, and calm. That combination terrifies everyone. Back on the Dauntless, Laura turned to her officers. Prepare a message. One simple statement. We do not attack, but we will defend ourselves. Let them hear us clearly. Eric Mason raised an eyebrow. A message? Are you sure, Captain? Any communication could provoke them. Laura shook her head. Not a threat. Just a warning. Let them understand who they are dealing with. Orion prepared the transmission. It would be sent on every known frequency, in every major galactic language. The message was simple, clear, and calm. This is Captain Laura Grant of the human Navy ship Dauntless. We seek no conflict. We will not attack unless provoked. Do not underestimate humanity. Across the Zarn fleet, the transmission was received instantly. Every officer and commander listened in stunned silence. The voice was calm, confident, and resolute. No fear, no anger. Just simple words, but they carried weight. Commander Tyrell could feel his crew's tension rise. Do you understand what that voice represents? He asked Kara. Kara nodded slowly. Yes, Commander. That is humanity. Calm, precise, and aware of its own power. They do not need to raise their weapons to make us fear them. One ship and one voice, and already the galaxy trembles. For hours, both fleets observed each other. No one dared make a move. The humans remained still, calm, and confident. The aliens tried to understand, to predict, to probe, but every attempt was met with subtle interference, slight manipulations that made their instruments fail or give false readings. Laura walked along the bridge, checking on her officers. They are testing us, she said quietly. Every scan, every probe, every signal they send, they think they understand us. Let them continue. They will learn the truth soon enough. In the alien fleet, debates broke out. Some suggested retreat, others suggested aggression. Every option seemed dangerous. Every analysis confirmed that this was no ordinary ship. Its size, power, and systems were beyond their knowledge. Their historians and scientists whispered of the old legends, the humans who had once ruled large parts of the galaxy, feared for their cunning and strength. Most dismissed the stories as myth. Now they realized the stories had been true. Meanwhile, on the Dauntless, humans continued to awaken fully. Engineers checked the power cores, ensuring maximum stability. Weapons officers prepared energy cannons, turrets, and missile bays. Medical teams examined crew members who had recently emerged from cryosleep, making sure they were fully alert. Laura convened a meeting in the tactical room. We are awake after thousands of years, she said. We have survived long enough to see the galaxy change. These aliens think they can test us. They think humans are gone. We will show them that we are alive and that we will not be underestimated. Lieutenant Mason looked at her. Captain, what do you suggest? Should we engage if they come closer? Laura shook her head. Not yet. Observe. Let them see our power. Let them hesitate and doubt. Our strength lies not only in our weapons, but in their understanding that humans are not weak. They will make mistakes if they underestimate us. That is when we act. Outside, the Zarn and Valari fleets hesitated. Even the most aggressive ships remained at a distance. Sensors showed no aggressive movement from the humans, but the subtle manipulations of their instruments caused fear. Every captain knew that engaging would be dangerous. Every officer feared the unknown. In the nebula, the Dauntless pulsed with energy, its shields glowing softly. The ship was massive, far larger than any contemporary warship. Its hull was dense, nearly impenetrable, and bristling with weapons of ancient design but unmatched capability. Laura smiled. Orion maintained defensive readiness. Keep all systems online. Observe all incoming signals. I want full data on every movement, every attempt to scan or approach. Yes, Captain, Orion replied. The AI hummed quietly as it monitored the alien fleet. Every probe, every scan, every attempt at communication was detected and analyzed. Hours passed. Slowly, the alien fleets began to realize the truth. They had encountered humans before, long ago, in wars that shaped the galaxy, but they had believed those humans extinct. Now, faced with a single ship fully operational and aware, they realized their mistake. Commander Tyrell, Kara said quietly, our fleets are outmatched. We are not yet attacked, but one mistake could be catastrophic. We cannot underestimate them. They are far stronger than we anticipated. Tyrell's claws clenched tightly. Send messages to every allied fleet. Hold positions. Do not engage. Wait for further instructions. Humanity is awake, and we must respect that fact. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Laura looked out at the alien ships. They will learn the hard way, she said softly. We do not start wars. We do not attack without reason. But we will not be weak. We will not be dismissed. Humanity survives, and anyone who forgets that will regret it. The humans worked quietly, efficiently. Systems hummed, energy cores pulsed, and weapons glowed with potential energy. Every human on the ship knew their role. Every officer knew the weight of history. They had survived wars, they had survived centuries of obscurity, and now they were awake to reclaim their place in the galaxy. In the nebula, silence reigned. The alien fleets watched, hesitant and fearful. They had assumed humanity was extinct. They had assumed humans were weak. And now, faced with the reality, they had no choice but to wait, to observe, to respect the power of a species they had long forgotten. And for the humans, this was only the beginning. Captain Laura Grant walked to the main viewport and looked out at the stars. The nebula glowed around the Dauntless, hiding its true size and strength. She smiled faintly. "We are awake," she whispered, "and the galaxy will remember humanity again." The aliens had seen a glimpse of what humans could do, but the full measure of their power had not yet been revealed. One day the galaxy would know the truth. Humans were not gone. Humans were awake, and humans were dangerous. The Dauntless drifted silently, waiting. The humans were ready. The galaxy would not forget this moment for thousands of years to come. Captain Laura Grant stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her eyes scanning the nebula outside. The alien fleets had been hesitant for hours, observing the human warship without taking any aggressive action. They had tested sensors, sent small scout ships, and even attempted communications, but every move was met with careful monitoring and subtle interference from the humans. The aliens were learning a hard lesson. Humans were awake, aware, and far stronger than anyone had imagined. "Orion," Laura said quietly, "prepare for full operational readiness. We may not attack, but we must be ready for anything. I want all systems online, weapons fully charged, and shields at maximum." The AI responded in its calm, precise voice. "Yes, Captain. All systems are now at full capacity. Shields are fully operational. Weapons are primed and ready, scanning and monitoring all alien vessels continuously." Laura nodded. "Good. Begin a detailed analysis of their fleet positions, strengths, and weaknesses. I want to know everything before we take any action." Lieutenant Eric Mason leaned over the console. "Captain, the aliens are beginning to retreat slowly. Their ships are scanning us cautiously, but I think they are genuinely afraid." Laura smiled faintly. "Fear is useful. Let them feel it fully. Let them understand the difference between humans and the rest of the galaxy. But remember, we do not strike unless provoked." In the Zarn Dominion fleet, Commander Terrell barked orders to his officers. "Hold formation. Do not engage. Keep sensors active, but do not fire. The human ship is unlike anything we have seen. Do not make the mistake of underestimating it," Lieutenant Kara whispered to Terrell. "Commander, their systems are ancient, yet far superior. Our entire fleet combined would be no match if they attacked. We cannot fight this ship directly," Terrell growled softly. "Then we wait. We observe. But we must find a way to survive this encounter." Meanwhile, on the Dauntless, Laura addressed her senior officers. "They will eventually make a move. When they do, we must respond precisely. No mistakes. Our strength is unmatched, but discipline will ensure we do not waste it unnecessarily. Humanity has survived for thousands of years. Now the galaxy will remember us once again." Eric Mason spoke quietly. "Captain, do you really think they will attack?" Laura's eyes hardened. "Some will. Some always do. But those who attack first will regret it. The human warship is more than a vessel. It is a statement, and no one will forget it." The alien fleet shifted nervously. Some ships attempted to test the humans by sending small drones toward the Dauntless, hoping to provoke a reaction. But every attempt failed. The drones disappeared into the human ship's defense fields, never returning. Sensors detected strange interference patterns. Communications went dead or scrambled. The aliens realized quickly that the humans could control more than just their own ship. They could manipulate the space around them. "Orion," Laura said, "record all movements. Monitor every vessel. Prepare countermeasures if they attempt aggression. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary." "Yes, Captain," Orion replied. Commander Terrell watched in disbelief. "Their technology. It's manipulating our sensors. We can't see clearly. Our weapons cannot target properly. This is impossible." Lieutenant Kara shook her head. "Impossible only if you forget who built it. The humans were once the rulers of the galaxy. They built ships like this to survive any threat. We are witnessing what remains of that power." The tension grew. Hours passed in silence. Both sides remained cautious. Then a small Valari cruiser approached the Dauntless, trying to get close enough for a sensor scan. It was a bold move, one that could have triggered disaster. Laura watched carefully. "Orion, analyze. How much damage would we cause if we disabled it?" The AI replied calmly, "Minimal output would suffice, Captain. One precise pulse could destroy the cruiser completely without affecting others." Laura nodded. "Do it!" The Dauntless released a pulse of energy, precisely calculated. The Valari ship's sensors overloaded instantly. The hull shuddered and then disintegrated into nothingness. No crew survived, no distress signals could be sent. The remaining fleet froze in shock. Commander Terrell's eyes widened. They destroyed one ship, without even moving. And the rest? They have seen it. Kara whispered, it is a warning. They do not attack unless provoked, but anyone who tests them will not survive. Across the galaxy, news of the event spread like wildfire. Every fleet, every council, every observer learned that humans were back, and that they were not to be underestimated. Rumors that humanity had been extinct were false. The legends of their power were true, and now the galaxy had proof. Laura addressed her crew calmly. They will test us again. Every species in this sector will try. They will be curious, reckless, or arrogant. But we are humans, we endure. We survive, we win. Remember that. Engineers and technicians continue to stabilize the power cores. Weapons officers checked targeting systems repeatedly, ensuring everything was ready. Medical crews monitored every crew member who had just woken from cryosleep. Everyone knew the stakes and everyone knew their role. The humans were disciplined, focused, and united. In the Zarn fleet, Commander Tyrell made a decision. We cannot fight them. We will retreat to our own space. We will inform High Command that this species is alive and far more dangerous than recorded. Every fleet must avoid engagement until further orders. Kara nodded. It is the only logical move. We cannot survive a direct confrontation with that vessel. As the Zarn ships withdrew, other species began to realize the truth. The Valari fleets, the Drakari fleets, and smaller races watched carefully. No one wanted to risk provoking the humans. It became clear that humanity had returned to the galaxy, and they were not to be trifled with. On the Dauntless, Laura allowed a small smile. They are learning, slowly but surely. They underestimated us for centuries. Now they will remember. Eric Mason spoke softly. Captain, do you think we will be attacked again? Laura's gaze was firm. Some will try. Some always do. But those who do will face the full measure of human strength. We have survived worse. We will survive this. And we will remind the galaxy why humans were once feared and respected. The humans worked efficiently. Systems hummed with power. Weapons glowed with energy. Shields shone against the nebula light. Every officer, every crew member understood that they represented the survival of their species, the return of humanity, and the warning to every alien race that humans could not be ignored. Commander Tyrell, aboard the retreating Zarn cruiser, made a final note in his log. The humans are awake. Their vessel is beyond any technology we have seen. Their intelligence is precise. They are calm, controlled, and lethal. We cannot fight them. We can only observe and pray we are not provoked. Meanwhile, Laura addressed her crew. Humanity has returned, she said. We are awake. We are strong. And the galaxy will never forget the humans again. Our time has come. The Dauntless powered up its engines, preparing to leave the nebula. Captain Laura Grant set the course toward human space, a place long forgotten but still waiting. The crew followed orders smoothly, every officer and sailor aware that the galaxy had changed forever. As they entered warp, the humans left a lasting impression on the nearby fleets. Stories would spread across the stars. Humans had returned. A single vessel, commanded by Captain Laura Grant, had reminded the galaxy of what humanity could do. Myths would be replaced with reality, and caution would replace arrogance. The humans did not boast. They did not celebrate. They were disciplined, efficient, and patient. They had survived 5,000 years of obscurity, and now they would shape the galaxy once more, not through reckless violence, but through strength, intelligence, and the quiet confidence of a species that refused to die. And somewhere, far across the nebula, alien fleets watched in awe and fear. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed the species was extinct. They had thought the stories were myths. Now they knew the truth. Humanity was back, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Captain Laura Grant stood at the bridge, looking out at the stars. The nebula faded behind them as the Dauntless moved forward. She smiled faintly. We are awake, she whispered. And this time the galaxy will remember us. Humanity survives. Humanity endures. Humanity will not be forgotten. The AI's voice replied, calm as ever. Course set for human space, Captain. All systems optimal. The galaxy will remember as you wish. Laura turned from the viewport, looking at her officers. Prepare for jump. Let's go home. As the Dauntless entered warp, leaving the alien fleets far behind, one thing became certain. Humans had returned, stronger than ever, and the galaxy had been warned. Those who doubted would remember. Those who tried to challenge would regret it. Humanity was awake. Humanity was alive, and the galaxy would never forget again.